Welcome to literary and jury charge practice. Let's get started with this literary material. Ready? A way to cope with stress is to find time to participate in physical activity. Take out your frustrations at the gym or by taking a brisk walk. Another way is to talk with friends. Keep yourself in good health. Accept the things you cannot change. If you allow it, stress can get you down and turn your positive outlook on life into a negative one. Don't let stress on the job or at home affect your performance at school. If the stress in your life is chronic, find a way to handle the negative effect on your attitude. Sometimes problems outside of school affect your attitude about school. Identifying these problems and the effect they have on you is the only way you can gain control. Take the example of one student who is having problems at home. Her husband is out of town 5 days each week. Raising the children during the week is up to her. From the moment she walks in the door at night, the children are tugging on her and making demands. She is frustrated because she feels as though she never has time to herself. When she walks into school each morning, she takes out her frustrations on others. She complains if other students make any noise. All right, well, let's move on to a little jury charge practice. Ready? Here we go. The people must have the evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. The judge will instruct the jurors that the people need to prove their case. In deciding whether the people have proved their case, the jury is instructed by the judge. The judge instructs the jury to compare and consider all the evidence that was received. If the evidence does not prove that the defendant is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, there must be an acquittal. If the jury is not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt of the defendant's innocence, then the jury must find in favor of the defendant. If that is the case, he will go free. To present the evidence in court, the attorneys that represent both sides will find people to testify at the trial as one form of evidence. Both attorneys will try to have evidence that will convince the jurors of their positions. Evidence presented in this manner is presented in what is called testimony. Testimony consists of the words of the witness taken down by the court reporter. The witness is under oath. In addition to testimony, as a means of offering evidence to the court, The attorneys may have any number of different types of exhibits to use as proof of their positions. Both sides have a right to have as many exhibits as they wish that will support their sides. Excuse me. When testimony is given as evidence by the plaintiff, that evidence is numbered and referred to as People's Exhibit, followed by a number. The exhibits by the other side are referred to as Defense Exhibit, often followed by a letter. During the trial, the witness will be called, starting with the witnesses for the state. The state is putting on the case, so the state must prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. The state first presents one of its witnesses and questions the witness under oath. It is up to the state to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. After the state is finished questioning the witness, the other side is given an opportunity in examining the witness. The defense attorney will try to reduce the credibility of the witness. When the defense attorney questions the witness, he can ask questions that only have to do with the questions that were brought out by the state. When the state's finished presenting all its witnesses, the defense has an opportunity to call its witnesses. When the defense calls a witness, the defense has an opportunity to explain, to question the witness first. The state may then question the witness on the facts that were presented. Any number of exhibits may be given by either attorney during the examination of the witnesses. At the beginning of a case, one or more attorneys may be assigned to the case. Several attorneys may work on the case because each of them might have a particular type of law in which they have knowledge. All right, let's get back to our literary on getting motivated. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Oh no, we're good. All right, ready? The money. Most court reporters are well paid and can increase their salaries by gaining further certification and by taking more jobs. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual earnings for a court reporter were $49,860 in May of 2014. The highest paid 10% earned more than $94,140 in 2014. Some court reporters make more than $100,000 per year. Check bls.gov for their latest update on earnings. Interesting work. Reporting for depositions, court education, meetings, or broadcasting involves a wide variety of subject matter. You will meet many people in different occupations and situations. You will learn a great deal from this exposure. Comfortable working conditions. You can make your workspace as enjoyable as your desire if you freelance or become a broadcast captioner and work at home. If you report depositions, they are usually conducted in pleasant surroundings at the attorney's office or the office of the witness. Official court reporters have their own private offices at the courthouse. Cart captioners work in various locations, such as classrooms, meeting halls, courtrooms, and businesses. You will work with other professionals, many of whom are at the top of their fields. Let's get back to our literary on mentoring and being a mentee. Ready? Communicate regularly. While some court reporters create mentoring partnerships in which they communicate as needed when they face a particularly challenging issue, the best mentoring relationships incorporate regular communication. Many mentoring partnerships start off with more frequent contact and then cut back once the relationship is solidly in place. Lisa Johnston, RMR, CRR, CRC, a CART captioner in Melbourne, Florida, advises mentees that communication is key, and it is important for mentees to reach out to a mentor and not be shy about asking questions. Johnston described how she interacted through email with one of her mentees every 2 weeks. Revisit the relationship if your goals change. The goals you initially identified when you began the mentoring partnership may well change as you grow and develop. If you no longer have a need for your mentor because your goals were achieved, communicate this to him or her. Avoid the temptation to drift off and abruptly stopping communication with your mentor. Again, this is another way to demonstrate respect for your mentor. Look out for your mentor's needs. Many experienced court reporters act as mentors because they want to give back to the profession. However, your mentor has his or her growth and development needs too. One way to build a strong relationship that could last a lifetime is to pay attention to ways you can support your mentor. Perhaps you found an article that might interest them, or met someone who would be a great networking contact for your mentor. Sharing your knowledge is important as the relationship develops. Consider mentoring others. Despite being new to the profession and possibly still being in school, no doubt there are others following in your footsteps who you might be able to mentor. Not only will you be supporting the court reporting profession, but you will also deepen your learning as a mentor. Zanoni explained how rewarding it is when one of his mentees has developed his or her professional support network, becomes more confident as a court reporter, and begins to mentor others. Entering the court reporting profession can be a demanding and rewarding challenge. The training programs are rigorous. Once you finish your training, there are many ways to launch your career in varying types of organizations. Resiliently bouncing back from setbacks you may face is critical to your success. By establishing a well-designed mentoring partnership early in your career, you can fulfill your dreams of becoming a successful court reporter. Again, that's an article from the NCRA, the Journal of Court Reporting magazine, that they publish every month. All right, let's get back to our jury charge practice. A case may involve many different types of circumstances that require people who have knowledge of certain areas of the law. There must be evidence that is presented at trial to the jury that the jury can understand. Evidence may exist but may not be sufficient enough to convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt. The attorneys may use different means to present evidence. In exhibit form, the evidence must be clear enough to make the point to the jury. The jury must understand the evidence that is presented either in testimony or in exhibit form. On the other hand, the evidence that the state has must be better than the evidence that the defense is presenting. The fact that a criminal charge has been filed is important. The judge will tell the jurors that a criminal charge does not mean that the person committed the crime. A charge does not mean that the charge is true. The judge will tell the jurors that they must not be biased against the defendants for any reason. They must not be biased against the defendants because they were arrested. Being arrested does not mean you have committed a crime. Being arrested means that the person has been charged with a crime. Being charged with a crime does not mean that one has committed a crime. That does not mean that he has committed the crime. The trial gives the defendant an opportunity to have the people prove that he has committed the crime. A defendant in a case is presumed to be innocent. A person is presumed to be innocent until he is proved to have committed the crime. The people must prove each element of a criminal allegation. They must prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. The state must set forth its case in the opening statement. right. Did we have any challenging words? Let me see. We had allegation, criminal allegation, biased, all right. Well, that will conclude our literary and jury charge practice.